Hi Scorpio, welcome to your mid-September 2019 general tarot reading. It's rainy here. Forgot what month I was in for a second there. But anyway, I'm just shuffling the cards. Whoa, lots of fire. Lots of fire. Yep, it's a Leo. I don't know, I'm just kind of half joking. Ooh. So is somebody going to get pregnant? Maybe, possibly, or something. The fire... fire energy. So the heart of the matter is the Six of Wands. And this is a card of taking your bow, or taking a bow. And this is the card of victory. I'm sure that's a laurel wreath. And you know, you've heard that expression, resting on your laurels. So that symbol of success. And I think the Six of Wands is also connected to Leo. It is a fire energy, and really I would say it's that sense of pride and accomplishment. And so it's possible that there is something that you feel happy about, proud of yourself that you've accomplished. And in some cases, this may be a Leo relationship. Leo is a fire sign that squares off Scorpio because you're both fixed signs. And there's an irritation when two signs square off, where, you know, the two people kind of have the tendency to rub each other the wrong way. But not, you know, necessarily in every aspect of life, because you can be friends with somebody who is I'm talking about specifically like a sun sign that squares off to you. You can be friends with such a person or have a romantic relationship. It's not that you can't do it. It's just that there may be times when you clash with that person. And when it's fixed signs, it's really a doozy, because you're kind of both set in your own ways, and it can just be a little bit harder to kind of find common ground. But there's a strong sexual chemistry. And this is one of the things when two signs are squared off to one another, is like they're attracting, even though it's almost like opposites attracting, but the attraction can be quite potent on the physical level. So one of those things. In the past position here, we have the Knight of Wands, which is associated with Sagittarius. So I don't know if you've been kind of dating around the fire signs. And have you, I was going to say, have you done Aries? Have you been with an Aries too? Then you would have had the trifecta. But the Knight of Wands is supposed to be a Sagittarius. But it's so funny because I always associate it with Aries, because the Knight, I think of that warrior. And what I think, you know, you're ruled by Mars as well as Pluto. So career-wise, you may have like taken off the gloves. You may... yeah, you just recently had this Leo energy, like back in August, a lot of that. And that may have, you know, jump-started your career or taken it to the next level. And you're just kind of like, maybe you took a chance on something. I don't know. Because the Knight of Wands is not very, you know, stable. And not very like content to just kind of plod along. It's really somebody who's a loose cannon, but there's a sense of daring with the Knight of Wands. So if this is something to do with your attitude towards career, it's like you're not being cautious. You're throwing caution to the wind. And it helped. It helped you to achieve your goals. And maybe that makes you feel like really proud of yourself, because Scorpio is a tough sign. You know, Scorpios are not timid, but I think water signs in general, I was thinking about this recently, that I think that they tend to, when we're talking about finances, I think there is that tendency to want, money for a rainy day kind of thing. Even Scorpios. So you might have said, you know what, I'm going to just fly by the seat of my pants. I'm going to see where I end up. And you landed on your feet and then some. And the higher message is the Five of Wands. For some of you who may have, maybe more on the shy side even, this could be like a spiritual lesson where you just like fought for what's yours. The Five of Wands can be friendly competition. So it doesn't have to be something negative. It can be that you're just jumping into the fray and showing the world what you've got. It's a very competitive energy. Let me put it that way. I think that also there could be like a situation, if this is in your love life, where you have to look at conflict that you have. So with the Knight of Wands in the past position, this may be something that has been like an affair, okay? Where you and this other person are having a good time, but it hasn't led to anything serious. And if that's the case, you have to understand that, because I know the average Scorpio person doesn't want to just have an affair, wants to have most likely a monogamous relationship, but one that is also very deep, not just kind of like a one-night stand or a once in a while friends with benefits or anything like that, that you want something much more deep. But whether or not this other person is capable of that, I don't know. Because the Knight of Wands can indicate somebody who is, I call it the good time Charlie card, the person who is very fun-loving, and they may be very charismatic and sexy, but they're not necessarily stable, and they're not necessarily marriage material. And when I say marriage, I mean just in a committed relationship. This person may have commitment issues, and the average Scorpio doesn't have commitment issues. You might have trust issues, but not commitment issues, ironically enough. But with the Five of Wands, you could be glossing over some of your clashes and kind of like either maybe almost like an Aries type of person, thinking that makes for the spice of life, that kind of back and forth, but also just assuming that that's just par for the course and not realizing that could be a red flag. That, I think sometimes that relationships that are based on physical attraction versus other types, oftentimes they seem contentious. And I don't know, I am assuming it's because the two people really don't have a lot in common outside the bedroom. I mean, that's just my own theory, but it just seems like it's almost like when the relationship is just based on the physical, that it tends to be quite, sometimes it can be quite nasty, especially when the two part ways. So just look at your situation, if this is a romantic situation, and if you feel like you kind of bicker a lot, or you seem to clash, you seem to have opposing opinions way too often, not to kind of write that off and say, oh, we can work that out, because it could be showing basic incompatibility. And you might think, hey, we have like an amazing physical connection, and thinking that that's going to carry you through, and not realizing that you need more than that. What crosses you is the Six of Cups, which is the Soulmate card. Now, this, obviously, we could say, well, this is not the soulmate, so here, that's why it's in the challenge position. But I think, too, for some of you, there may be somebody in your past who you feel is your soulmate, and yet, for some reason, you're separated from this person. So it's almost like you have kind of turned off that part of yourself that wants the deep connection that the average Scorpio person wants, almost like to protect your feelings. I don't know how else to put it. And the problem with that is that you're somebody who has to have a the kind of relationship that the soulmate card represents. And I know that it's painful for people who can think of somebody in their past that they thought they were going to be with forever, and they got separated from that person for one reason or the other, and they've never been able to fully forget that person, to even dream of having that type of relationship with somebody else. But if you are totally, if you are in that position where there was somebody that got away, that you have always kind of mourned the loss of that relationship, and there's no way to get them back, like maybe they're already they're already married and they have children, and you just know that there's no way to get back with that person, then you still have to believe that there's a reason that you weren't meant to be with them, and to really hold out for the person who most resembles a soulmate, and not, you know what I mean, and not to settle for less. If you're dealing with some kind of, work issues, what I think could be happening, it's like winning the battle and losing the war. Getting the promotion, getting the pats on the back, but living in a dog-eat-dog environment, working in a dog-eat-dog environment. And the soulmate, I said the soulmate card, the Six of Cups in that context could be the person who is turning their back on a childhood dream that they have had. And remember that the cups relate to water energy and emotions, and you, of course, are a water sign. So Scorpios, and I think out of all the water signs, you are the most like this. If your heart isn't into something, you can have all the success in the world, but you will not feel that sense of true accomplishment. That Six of Wands could be an empty victory in a sense, because you may feel like you're being praised for something, and yet you're left in the cold. You really don't, what you really want to do, you're not doing. So, and also you may have a very contentious work environment where other people may feel like envious and They may be trying to undermine you, and there's a lot of drama. So it's one of those things that's like, on one hand, there's a good side to it, and on the other hand, it's like you might be feeling that it's not exactly what you want. But you know, let me tell you something. With the Six of Wands as the centerpiece, it's all good. And speaking of it being all good, here we have one of the most positive cards in the major arcana, not to mention the deck, the Sun card. So what is coming in? Or sometimes the advice. The Sun card represents healing, success. So again, the minor arcana version, the Six of Wands is success too. So you have two success cards. So success is definitely at hand for you in mid-September, probably, you know, going onwards. But the thing is too, this could be a Leo. The Sun rules Leo. So I get these two Leo cards. So success, healing, love, creativity. You know, what's that word? I was going to say affluence, but abundance. Abundance. So all good stuff. All good stuff coming your way. With all this fire energy, also, I think that there's a lot that you're experiencing a lot of independence now, a lot of confidence, and a lot of passionate feelings. The outcome is the Three of Pentacles. When I was joking about children, I think that this is a baby being baptized or something. I have to double check. It looks like they have a baby in their arms. But the Three of Pentacles is a card of teamwork. So it could mean that you are, even if you have been fighting with others on the job, maybe not you, but others are very competitive, if it's a cutthroat environment, that you could be seeing a lot of cooperation in the workplace. This can be also a card of material well-being. It could be a relationship that you form with somebody that does have a foundation, that does have a chance because you're building it from the ground floor up. You're not just, you know, it's funny. I mean, it could be that you start with an affair and it ends up being something very serious. And this is even, like I said, the card of having a child, because it's the number 3 is connected to creation, creativity. You know, we could say artistic, but also creating children. So that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope that you enjoyed this. Oh, let me tell you, the full moon is happening during this time frame on September 14th at, oh my goodness. Yes, because it's in Pisces, 21 degrees of Pisces. Pisces is your 5th house, and the 5th house is a house of love, but it's also the house of creativity. So there you go. The sun rules that house. Yeah, okay, there you go. And it's also the house of conceiving children. Scorpio is a very fruitful sign, and the 5th house is the house of conceiving children in a water sign. So it's a fruitful moon. The full moon is a very fertile time. So nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Watch out if you don't want to do it so soon, because you could be pregnant or impregnating somebody very shortly. But in any case, maybe it's something that you want to do. So that would be great if that were the case. But anyway, if you'd like a private reading, the link is below. I hope that you have a wonderful interim until mid-month. I will be back to do the end of September in a couple of weeks. Take care. Bye.